It's crunch time for one of the Turnbull government's signature pieces of legislation, its company tax bill. The government wants to lower the corporate tax rate to 25% for all companies over the next decade, but the Senate crossbenchers are far from willing to play ball. Many of them are pegging their support to a whole range of different issues. I spoke to a panel of key senators a short time ago: Nick Xenophon, Jackie Lambie and One Nation's Malcolm Roberts. Malcolm Roberts, Jackie Lambie, Nick Xenophon, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Lee. Pleasure to be here.
If I could start with you, Senator Roberts. One Nation's just decided what it's doing on the Turnbull government's signature company tax package. What have you decided?
With the tax package, we've decided we will accept a reduction in company tax for companies with a turnover of up to $50 million, a turnover.
And so why have you settled on that?
Well, we think that small businesses, they're the powerhouse of the economy. That's what needs to be, that's where the employment comes from, and we need to encourage them. So it's a win for everyone that way.
So earlier today, One Nation was saying it wouldn't be voting for any government bills until a dispute involving sugar farmers in Queensland was resolved. Has that happened?
It looks very encouraging. I've just had a talk with Pauline. We've been in a bit of a rush because I've just come from the Senate where I've spoken. And it looks very encouraging. There's still a number of things to sort out. We've just learned, though, that the state Labor government has received quite a sizable donation from Wilmar and may be throwing a spanner in the works so far as the growers are concerned.
Okay, let me bring in the other senators here. Everybody has their pet cause that they want to tie to this company tax bill: energy, sugar, 18C. How is it reasonable to hold the government ransom with things that aren't related to company tax, Nick Xenophon?
Well, it is related. Lee, I met some businesses today who are just being crushed under the burden of energy costs. They say that they won't be in a position to pay any company tax because they'll be losing money. Of course, there's a link. If we're concerned about jobs, about economic growth, about the future of companies in this country, then we need to tackle energy costs. And what I predicted today, which I stand by, is that companies in the eastern states can expect a 20 to 30% hike in retail power prices, and consumers too, as of July the 1st, because we've made such a mess of energy policy in this country. So of course the two are linked.
If they're being crushed by energy prices, though, why wouldn't you give them a break in the form of a company tax cut?
Because the priority has to be to deal with the issue of energy prices. When you have someone no less than Andrew Liveris, the CEO of Dow Chemical, President Trump's advisor on manufacturing, saying that Australia is at serious risk of, in effect, becoming a basket case unless we sort out energy costs, then we need to take heed of people around the world who are saying that we are a case study in what not to do in energy policy.
Senator Lambie, the government took this company tax cut policy to the election. They were re-elected as the government. Why shouldn't they be allowed then to pass that signature bill?
Because right now I just believe there is better ways of fixing up the economy in the country than what there is of giving more tax cuts, especially to those big businesses out there who we already know don't pay their tax, Lee, and we also know that their profits usually end up offshore, and their executive get nice paid, highly paid holidays. And I can tell you now, I'm happy to, when it comes to businesses of up to $10 million, to give them a nice big tax cut. I would rather see them having a nice big 10% tax cut, because I can see what is going on in my own backyard with small to medium businesses. And I tell you what, they are screaming out for help. So I would much prefer that money, or part of that money, being invested into those small and medium businesses. I can tell you now, because we've already worked out that trickle-down economics does not work. How about we try trickle-up economics and start from that? But right now, that is not going to give me jobs in those rural and regional areas, I can assure you right now. And they're the ones paying for it. They're the ones, the small businesses, that are closing their doors. As a matter of fact, I walked around the street, and in 3 days I've got 3 businesses up for sale in Burnie, very small. And it looks like when I was walking around after Saturday, there's another 2 that may be closing the doors over the next few months. This is what it's like in rural and regional areas.
Senator Roberts, do you accept that giving tax cuts to small businesses will actually stimulate jobs and economic growth? Because there have been business leaders who've said, well, it won't do enough.
Well, no single solution is satisfactory, Lee. There's multiple things we need to do to fix business. People in regional Queensland and in the city centres of Queensland are saying we need protection from rising energy prices, we need protection from regulations, and we need protection from an abusive tax system that is destroying our country, and especially regional areas. They're the things that people are talking about, and that's what we need to fix, and all of them are simple. It's remarkable that Senator Xenophon is now crying about energy prices. Thankfully he is, but he's one of the people who's been pushing these intermittent energy sources that is crippling his state.
Oh, that's not true, Malcolm.
Yes, it is. Come on, Nick.
Fib.
Come
Please
on.
don't fib. Please don't fib. You don't know what you're talking about,
Right of
seriously.
reply, Nick Xenophon.
Well, that's just nonsense. I've been concerned about intermittent energy sources for a number of years. Back in 2009, Malcolm Turnbull and I jointly commissioned Frontier Economics to put up an emissions intensity scheme which would have dealt with these issues, which would have ensured certainty. And back then, it didn't have many friends. Now it has no less than CSIRO, BHP Billiton, leading manufacturers across the country saying, and the Labor Party, saying this is the way to effectively break the investment drought in energy in this country.
Let me ask you all just one really simple question. Do you think that the company tax bill, as the government's currently presenting it, is going to get through the Senate this week, yes or no?
I understand that with the $50 million threshold, it will.
I also want to know, okay, so we'll see what happens. It's two versus one saying it's not going to survive. I also just want to know, given the polls that have been around for the government and some of the speculation about Malcolm Turnbull's leadership, I'm just curious to know for each of you, do you believe that you'll still be dealing with Malcolm Turnbull as Prime Minister by year's end, Malcolm Roberts?
I'm not a pollster. I don't worry about things like that. We'll deal fairly and honestly with whoever is leader of the government.
Jackie Lambie?
Yeah, look, I don't really know. I know that, like I said, the Liberal Party's in chaos. It's been in chaos for a long time. We've actually just been dealing with some legislation that affects the veterans and would have affected their privacy, and to still their communication and their networking leaves a lot left to be questioned. But you know what? That's not Malcolm Turnbull's fault. That's his minister's fault.
Nick Xenophon?
And so if Turnbull goes, it's because of the ministers.
Nick Xenophon?
I think I expect to be dealing with Malcolm Turnbull as PM by the end of this year.
We very much appreciate all of your time. May end up talking to you over the course of the week again. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Lee.
Thank you.
Good night.